Warning: the following podcast contains mature language and adult discussions. You have been warned.
Get in.
Welcome to the store.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Fake fucker, fake fucker, fake fucker! Hello and welcome once again to the Video Store Clerks Podcast. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, among the many fun things we'll be doing tonight, we will be talking about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the 1998 bonkers, wild, cameo-filled, drug-fueled wild ride that is this Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro classic based on the legendary Hunter S. Thompson, as well as the news, our random clip of the week, and who knows what else. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I say relapse. Oh.
Whoa. And if you haven't noticed the theme this month, well, maybe next week or the week after you will. Who knows? So welcome once again to Video Store Clerks. Before we get started on the news, let us introduce ourselves. I am Dave.
I'm Chapman.
I'm Mike.
Chuck.
Beautiful. So, as usual, we will start the show as we always do with the news.
There's no way in hell that is the same fart every week. I don't buy it.
Wait, there's a fart?
I was waiting for that.
Oh my God, man. The news? What's in the news, man? Oh, well, some shit happened.
Oh.
Some more shit happened. Some dumb shit happened.
That's a given.
Oh, boy. Well, we'll start with in remakes nobody asked for news. I think we might have mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The Alfred Hitchcock classic Vertigo is, in fact, being remade. And this one hurts. It hurts because set to star is Robert Downey Jr. So I have very, very, very mixed feelings about this one. But
I think it would be awesome if he's playing in it. I can totally see him playing.
See, that's why, like, I was totally like deterred from it, and then RDJ we trust. That kind of changed my mind about it. So
I was going to say, when's the last time? When's the last time Robert Downey Jr. kind of disappointed?
Right.
I mean, he hasn't really disappointed us since he woke up in that child's bed, like all fucked up on shit. Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't do anything with a kid. He just fell asleep on the bed. It was the neighbors.
Film wise,
That was the last disappointment. Other than that, like, he's been awesome.
Right. So we'll see what happens. The Universal Monsters will in fact be making their return slowly but surely. The team behind what were they called? Radio Silence. The team behind the last two Scream movies will be taking over this franchise. All we really know is a working title, but behind the first movie is Dracula's Daughter, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could just be a working title.
That actually makes me really curious how if that's the working title, if it has anything to do with what is going on in the movie. I mean, that could be a almost kind of a throwback to the Hammer films. The the Dracula's Daughter, Daughters of Darkness. things like
Yeah,
that.
it'll be interesting to see how they start, and I think a lot of it will depend on Renfield, which so far is getting good reviews. But if it does well, I can almost guarantee that they'll go forward with the.
I
Well,
want to go see that Friday.
no matter what, I think a film with Dracula is going to suck.
I get that.
Zing.
Hey,
You get it?
Well, what do we have here? A fucking comedian.
It's fucking.
In other
Yes,
news,
fucking guy.
well, since we're all wrestling fans, I'll just bring this up. We failed to mention the merger between WWE. I mean, everybody knows about that, so there's no sense in covering it. But the new season of Dark Side of the Ring, which will be season 4, is set to start on May 30th. And so far, the only stories we know about are Marty Jannetty and Sonny and Chris Candido, which I'm surprised they never did a Sonny episode yet, but that's going to we be coming. Those are the two we know about so far, because Sonny, well, we're not
I was going to say
gonna
that's to be continued. we don't have the final chapter of that yet.
yeah. What is this man? Jesus. Where's my typewriter? God damn it. And Evil Dead Rise, which will be coming up in here 1 or 2 weeks, I believe.
It'll be coming out on the
Friday.
21st, the same day of the Goat Horse show that I'm opening up for.
Oh, that's going to be a good weekend.
It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night.
Yes, indeed.
The goat whores and the bastards rise.
So far, it has a 94% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It has gotten really, the word on the street is it's really good, except for that one guy that was in that auditorium when they did the Q&A screening. Apparently, there's one guy that didn't like the movie.
I was about to say, what about the one guy at South by Southwest said this thing's a piece of shit or whatever?
Why don't you get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, and he was even like, he stayed for the credits.
Yeah, he even said that. I think Ted was
Man.
like, he could have left before it was over.
Right. I don't understand that, stupid. And finally, Bruce Campbell was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with Bruce Campbell because of that shit. But, thing is, I was a big fan of the Evil Dead remake. I watch it. I watch it quite a bit. I think it's a great movie. I think that it's. I was really glad to see that them doing the Rise, doing it a completely different way than the originals. Again, I kind of like this whole. We've proven we don't need Ash. You had Ash, but most of the time people were pretty cool about it. But there was this one idiot today that I was getting. I was kind of just looking for trouble. And so I was on this horror movie group thing, and this guy was like, everybody was like, "Oh, can't wait to see this movie, can't wait to see it." And this jackass was, he said, "Oh, I hope this movie's better than the remake from 2013." And I was like, "The movie was fucking stellar. What was your problem with it?" And me and like 4 other people kind of like, because the guy couldn't. He was like, "Well, I didn't say it was a bad movie. I was just saying." I was like, "No, you just said that it was." And I was like, "No, this is a great fucking movie. Like, fuck off." And he's like, "Well, it just is." He's like, "I just don't. It's just too nasty for me." And I'm like, "Oh, you're a poser. Gotcha."
Yeah.
Too nasty. How?
I've never heard like a good.
Dude, the Evil Dead
Good
movies.
reason.
Like, here's the thing. All of them. That's the thing that made the Evil Dead movies what they are is the humor with the fucking disgust. Because I mean, that's why I fucking love the shit in the first fucking place as a kid. And they've just amped it up even more with the fucking, with the remake, or the I wouldn't call it a remake, it's a reboot. And this new one coming out, I have not been so hard on for a movie to come out in so long. I have been dying for this, and it looks fucking killer. Sorry to go on. I know this is the news and shit. But
No, trust me.
that's all right.
I've been waiting for this movie. I've had like half a chub since October.
half a chub.
I mean, it was full blown until they decided it was going to go to theater, so it got pushed back a few months. But
The minute that I hear the words being spoken, I'm just gonna shoot.
and I know the naysayers are going to be the ones that say Bruce isn't in it, blah blah blah, because they fail to realize this movie is about the book.
Yes.
Just like people who fail to realize that Hellraiser's about the box.
Right. We've had that discussion many times, and they're going to be the ones that are hating on it.
But whatever. Who cares?
Fuck 'em.
If we like it, then fuck.
Right. That shit looks fucking stellar to me.
That's how I say. It's a killer. Up the nose with a rubber hose. Oh,
And
I don't know.
Up yours with a twirling lawnmower.
Yeah, that too.
Up your ass with a blade of grass.
Hey.
That sounds uncomfortable. Gotta be worse than picking out fucking that long hair out of your ass crack. You know what I mean?
No.
I used to have hair. I don't.
Hey, Chuck, do me a favor. Suck my tongue.
Yeah. We're gonna break masses. We're talking about the news. Let's talk about the newest pieces of shit and fucking like celebrities.
I didn't read the article. I saw the headline, and that was quite enough for me. Thanks. No.
I saw the video. I saw the fucking video. You know what? This goes to show anybody that wants to fucking stand up. That's creepy. But like the thing is, people want to like hold up some of these fucking people. Listen to me. This is true. This is about the truth. Like the truest, most dramatic shit for tonight. Everything's gonna be fun. But we brought it up. Thing is, people want to keep holding up these fucking holier than thou fucking figures. The thing is, they're pieces of shit too. I don't give a fuck about what kind of culture or whatever the fuck. It is not okay to make a fucking boy do what that motherfucker did. It just goes to show humanity is at an all-time low. The Dalai Lama's a piece of shit. Fuck you if you disagree. Moving on.
Well, I got that going for me, so that's nice. I was like, hey, Llama, you want to suck my tongue?
Bad thing is you can't get a clear shot.
Christ, man, even that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Don't worry, I'm not going to be in character the whole time.
As your attorney, I advise you not to suck that man's tongue.
I love it.
You can put any kind of commentary you want on it. That little boy knew as soon as that man said "suck my tongue" that it was not a good idea. Like
if you look,
danger,
and that's the bottom line.
Danger.
If you look at how that motherfucker is looking at that kid, his stare is the creepiest fucking thing. And this is gonna go into something totally more fucked up. So let's break away. Let's break away.
Away from the fear.
Back to the news.
That was the one.
I'm out of whiskey. Go on.
What?
I'm out of whiskey. I'm out of news. I got nothing except for one thing. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Man, I used to watch this movie all the time. Hey, Chuck, I had a VHS copy of it for fucking ever. I don't know what happened to it. But God, I didn't realize it's been like 20 years since I've seen this movie.
What?
Yes, because I had that. I had a VH copy of it, and then I moved and I lost it, and then I just kind of. Well, I don't know. That's probably not true. I'm sure I've seen it since then, but everything I just said.
I was first introduced to this movie when I was in 7th or 8th grade. I was introduced to this movie by a friend of mine who was also one of the people that got me smoking cannabis. But he introduced me to Cheech and Chong's Up and Smoke, and then put in Fear and Loathing afterwards. It was a fun-filled afternoon as a kid.
The first time I fucking seen this shit was one night at my homeboy's house. We were hanging out watching this and eating shrooms. It was a good night. I was like back in like 2001 maybe.
Like with me, it was one of those movies where like, what the fuck did I just see?
Yeah.
And then the second time, I couldn't stop laughing.
I couldn't take my eyes on the fucking screen. Yeah, the movie is just fucking—it's just great from the front to back.
I've seen this shit a million fucking times.
Yeah, and there's even some
book too.
Yeah, has anybody read the book?
I have.
Yeah, because what I haven't, but I heard like it's the movie is ripped right from the book.
Pretty much.
Some of it verbatim is like from the book. So what I didn't understand is why the book was so widely praised and accepted, but the movie really got shit on, which made no sense.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it makes sense.
Different times.
The thing is, go on.
I was just going to say, different times. With the book coming out in the early 70s and the film not coming out to the late 90s, you got two completely different generations.
Yeah,
watching.
you're right. You're right. I bet it's as simple as that. It's
Mike,
just
Mike the robot.
yes. Mike, what?
What?
Mike the robot. Put your tongue away.
Yeah, none of the shit, Mike. God damn it.
That's how you get the women.
You're like a fucking lizard.
It looks like he's in backcountry.
Don't stop here.
I just realized you have bats. Hey, that's
No one gives a fuck about your background, Mike.
I've gone batty.
I love your backgrounds. I can't wait to see what you do every week. Just so you know.
Batshit crazy.
And that's what we like. Tune in. You never know what we're going to do every week.
No.
Feel free to jump into the chat. We don't do that super chat or nothing like that. You could say, well, I was going to say you could say whatever you want, but fuck it, say whatever you want. Just don't put like
Hey, do we still get
links.
those spam porn things? Remember that?
Just that one time.
Just
That
for
one
the
time.
Alaska
One time.
episode.
Was that on the axe murder episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It was just that one episode, and then it was just
That was the only supernatural thing that happened that evening.
Yeah, and like after it happened, I was like, okay, first of all, people don't click on that. Second of all, oh my god, I'm so happy because I feel like we've really made it now since we're getting spam.
And third, why the fuck would anybody click on that in the first place? You shouldn't have to tell them.
Well,
I mean, we all do the same thing. Make sure people know that don't click on that. But still, it's like it's pretty bad that we had to even be that way in the first place. Yeah. Anyway.
But anyway, so what would you say? 71 the novel
71?
came out. So
Yes.
yeah, so 98, yeah. And oh my gosh, and all this really happened. This is
Or did it?
Well, actually,
Right.
it's not. It didn't actually all roll happen. It was pretty much just like anything, but except it usually when movies get made from books, the movies are usually like a little bit more out there than the books, or like a real life thing that might have happened. In this case, the guy that it all happened to did what movies do anyway, which made it easier for them to write the script because it's not all fact. He's made that clear multiple times that it was not all fact, but it also leaves them a mystery of, because there's things he won't talk about. He never really discussed what was real and what was fake in the movie. Like, so I mean, I would say that that the good doctor did some things that probably would have locked him up if he would have admitted that it was real. So
And he even said,
and all that,
he even said that that's why he changed the names in the story, because they actually had a falling out, but he changed the names to make sure, because there were so many illegal things that happened, they didn't want any blowback from it. So that's why you'll see the story is based on Hunter S. Thompson and his lawyer, Oscar Zeta Costa, and in the film they're referred to as Raoul Duke and Dr. Gonzo. So that's why when you hear the different names, you're like, isn't that the same person? Yes, but they were like aliases for the book. So,
well, wasn't that one of his aliases anyway?
Raoul Duke was that he got a lot of shit from Sports Illustrated and Time, or what was the Rolling Stone?
Yeah,
Rolling Stone.
yeah.
He got all kinds of shit because they're like, you can't do that, and he's like, okay, I can. And they constantly were like, you just you're making us look bad, like, but they couldn't get rid of him because he made a name for himself pretty quickly once his name even was mentioned out in the open, of his gonzo journalism, which was getting out into the field, being out there. Like, he's responsible for, that hardcore journalism. He was out there doing the shit, the everything that was going on. I mean, if you read any of his books, Kingdom of Fear, was it Love and Fear on the Campaign Trail, or whatever the fuck it's called, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail.
On the
He had a
Campaign
whole
Trail.
bunch of books where it's just like, the experiences that he had in some of these books, that because Fear and Loathing was its own beast. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was his own beast. Just like Rum Diaries and Hell's Angels and all that stuff, but like his political stuff, like he was on the campaign trail with was it Reagan? I think
Nixon.
Nixon. It was Nixon. And which actually, if you've ever seen Where the Buffalo Roam with Bill Murray playing Hunter S. Thompson, they covered that a little bit in that. It's not the greatest movie, but it's still entertaining to a certain extent. So whatever. But yeah. No.
And I know he hated Nixon with a passion.
Oh yeah.
Even after Nixon passed away, gosh, I don't remember what year that was. Sometime in the 90s, I believe. He passed away.
Well,
He made some comment. I can't remember what it was, but there was.
He should be buried at sea or something. He should have been buried at sea or something.
Yeah.
But he was political. Like, I mean, he attacked both sides.
He was out for the truth. That was his ultimate goal.
He didn't give a shit what side you were on. Yeah.
No.
Not one bit. That was what's beautiful about it. The cover of his book, Kingdom of Fear, it pretty much explains, I mean, his attitude. He's standing there, in an elevator that says no smoking behind him, and he's holding a cigarette that's lit. You know what I mean? That was Hunter S. Thompson. That was the good doctor.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say his writing gave birth to what they called gonzo journalism, and what we were just talking about, how you don't know what's real and what's not. It's those different elements that was thrown into his writing that you're like, is this real or not?
It was a little bit fiction, a little bit truth. It was kind of a mystery. That's gonzo, yeah.
And you could definitely get that vibe from watching the film.
That's almost exactly what I was going to say, because I was going to bring up the bats again, because there's that little shot as they're pulling away where there's a dead bat on the road. And you're like,
Well, I saw this interview where they were like, did you see like monsters or whatever? And he's like, maybe I did. Maybe it was a hallucination. I don't know. But there were creatures.
And someone was giving booze to these goddamn.
There was definitely there were several things that had a big impact on the making of the book and that movie completely.
And the relationship, really close friendship apparently with Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
which is also talked about in Kingdom of Fear. It's a good book. I've mentioned it a few times. Yeah, he talks about Johnny Depp lived in it. There's a Conan O'Brien interview that he was on, and he talks about it. And he's like, he lived in my basement in a room full of dynamite. And he's like, wait, you had Johnny Depp living in your house in a room full of dynamite? He's like, yeah. And I was afraid the bastard was going to set him off. And it's just like, it's great.
He said something like when Johnny Depp was down in the basement, just laying in bed chilling, and he had a cigarette. And he's like put down his ashes on what he thought was a nightstand. Well, he looks, and it's a crate full of dynamite.
Yeah. Explosives.
And I think after the Hell's Angels incident, I could be wrong. I believe it was after the Hell's Angels incident, he got an obsession with guns. He started collecting guns.
Well, he always had a fascination with them, but after the Hell's Angels thing, because he pissed a lot of Hell's Angels off. There's a famous interview where one of them confronts him on TV, and you can see how uncomfortable it is.
Really? I didn't see that. Is that on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's black and white. It's a black and white interview, like from back in the day. And this Hell's Angels, like, you made us out to be blah, 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 blah. But you know what, motherfucker? You took part in shit too. If you've never read the book Hell's Angels, it's brutal. Like you really, that's why the Hell's Angels, they completely. And if you mention Hunter S. Thompson around any of them, or they get mad, like because he left a bad taste in everybody's mouth when it came down to it, because he gave away a lot of secrets that weren't supposed to be given away. But he was afraid of his life, so he got really even more into firearms and things.
And I understand when him and Johnny Depp first met, it was something about Johnny Depp was sitting in in a bar or tavern all the way in the back, of course, and the door flies open, and there's this shadow with all this electricity around it, and he comes in, and it's Hunter, and in one hand he has a cattle prod about that long, and in the other hand he has a fucking stun gun, and he's just going around, get away from me, you bastards.
Yeah.
And
everybody, because everybody always, because the people that lived in his area, when he would go in public and stuff, they were just, you could tell who lived there and who didn't, who'd been there longer or whatever, because
they knew him.
Yeah, like he would be like, at a bar or whatever the fuck, and he would like have like a freak out or some shit, and like he'd be at the grocery store or some shit, and people were like, what's wrong with that, man? You don't have to call the cops, or it's Hunter Thompson.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like, yeah.
Yeah, because I think they met up at the Woody Creek Tavern. That was like his watering hole, out in Colorado. And I think that same night they went back to his house, and they took a tank of propane, and he strapped some nitroglycerin to it, and fucking Johnny Depp blew it up. He's like, yeah, we went back to his house and made a bomb.
What was the best part about that story, though, whenever he's like, because Johnny Depp's saying he has a cigarette in his mouth, and then he fucking hands him this propane tank, then he hands him a box, and he's like, what's this, mattresses? And he's like, no, it's nitroglycerin. And he's like, so I immediately threw the cigarette down.
One other thing is when it comes to the Hunter S. Thompson, he had a friendship with Jack Nicholson also.
I heard that story too.
Where he woke up Jack in the middle of the night, like firing off guns or something. It's in Kingdom of Fear. He talks about it, but yeah, like he was firing off guns, and she was trying to get him to wake up, and it was like way past Jack's bedtime or whatever the fuck, and he was like, "Get the fuck up, asshole!" And he's out there like firing guns and shit because he called him or something, was like wanting him to hang out, and he's like, "I'm going to bed, like leave me alone." And so he was like, "Well, whatever," and like he wouldn't answer the phone, and so like he goes and just like causes all kinds of pandemonium, wakes up Jack Nicholson's kids, pisses off Jack Nicholson, and like I think there was like, I could be wrong about this, but I want to say that Jack Nicholson first grabbed his gun and then realized it was Hunter and was like, "This guy's out of his fucking mind." Like this, my friends, like that kind of shit.
Well, so that apparently happened more than once too, because he said like one time apparently whenever Jack was still getting stalked, like way back, like Hunter S. Thompson just showed up with like a bunch of floodlights pointed at his house and started shooting his gun off.
That's
and he never would come outside, so then he left an elk cart on his front steps. And then whenever Jack answered the door, he was like, "What the fuck?" So they were like all down in the basement, and Jack called the FBI.
Yeah. Well, he said he noticed all that, like blood was starting to kind of go through the bottom of the door.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? It opened up and it was a package with the elk cart in it.
And then the same year, he fucking took Christmas presents for Jack's kids or whatever, and his daughter opened the one package up, and there was a fucking rat in a rat trap with a note that said, "Never trust men. Love, Uncle
You're
Hunter."
welcome.
I
think it's funny.
That's beautiful, man.
Right?
Man.
Imagine fucking getting a present as a fucking rat in a rat trap.
Interesting enough, they said that Nicholson and Brando were discussed as being Hunter S. Thompson and Dr. Gonzo.
Because it was Scorsese was trying to get that off the ground for a while, I think.
Yeah.
I could see that with both of them. It would have been a different movie, but
fucking Joker and Jarrell.
I could see that, especially Brando, if you get him fired up.
Yeah.
What's the
As your attorney, I advise you not to fucking sleep with the fishes. I don't know.
Brando, one of the greatest actors of all time, and also known as one of the laziest in his later times.
It's like Steven Seagal now. It always sits down every time he makes a movie.
Yeah. Like, what was the movie with Val Kilmer?
Doctor of Island Moreau, or
Island of
Dr. Moreau.
Yeah,
Doctor of Island Moreau.
Yeah.
I took too much of the sunshine acid tonight. I'm going backwards.
I wish you took sunshine acid, Mike.
But yeah, it's impossible to talk about this movie without talking about Hunter S. Thompson. That did pass away, I believe, in 2005.
Yeah, February 20th.
Okay.
That
was the early 2000s.
That's real bad when he died.
Mm-hmm.
because Hunter S. Thompson is an influence of mine as a writer and everything. And I was going to GED classes, and we were all in the classroom, and then somebody had said that Hunter S. Thompson had killed himself, and I threw a fucking fit. I was like, no fucking way. No, he did not kill himself. Fuck you, he didn't do that. It fucked me up because this is before Facebook and all that shit, whatever the fuck, you didn't have information all over the place,
Yeah, MySpace was just coming out back then.
Yeah, and I went out
MySpace.
and I looked up and found that that he shot himself, and later on watching documentaries and stuff about it, the good doctor was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it's a really sad, but also very I don't know, mixed emotions when it comes down to it, because it's like his wife left the house and he had a gun in his hand when she left, if I remember correctly. That's what it was. And they came back. I don't remember if anybody heard the gunshots or whatever, but his son, one of his sons, or I can't remember how many sons he has, but what the son that I'm thinking of, sat with him until his body was taken away. And just it's hard to when you look up to certain people and you see them as a strong voice, a strong mind, and then when because my family is a victim of murder and suicide, and it's just like, damn, somebody with that much character and that much brilliance, that much genius, that much impact on so many generations of people. It's just hard to believe that that's the way that he went out, but he had a lot of back problems that had him in
all his life, really. I mean, he had a rough life.
Yeah, but towards the end of it, he was drinking still before he died, but he wasn't drugging like he was, whatever. He was taking legitimate, what was he said? There was a documentary where he's taking some kind of drugs. He's like, oh, these are all legal. This is what you do when you're old. And he just taking actual elder medicine, whatever the fuck. But so when you have the one thing, when you have those things that numb all that pain for so many years, and then they're taken away, and that pain becomes about 1,000 times worse. And
and not only the physical pain, it's the mental pain, because it's
mostly the mental pain.
It changes you. You're like, oh, I'm taking these pills, I'm taking whatever the fuck. I'm like something else that I never was. What the fuck am I? And it's it sucks, but it's so apropos of Hunter's life, where he always did things his way. It was on his terms, and he's like, fuck it, if I'm going out, this is how I'm going out. That's
what I was getting ready to say, was because he was it's my way or the highway. Yeah. And he wasn't gonna just sit there and suffer, die in his chair. He was gonna just go ahead and get over with, and whatever. And
yeah, I remember. I heard about it on the radio on my way to school one day that happened. I remember that. I remember very well hearing that first thing in the morning. But I believe his father passed away at a really young age. I think he was left with his mom, and did he have a brother and sister too, or was he an only child?
I want to say he had a sister at least.
Sister? Okay.
He's from Louisville, Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. I was gonna say he was born and raised in Kentucky, I believe. Then he moved to Aspen.
So is Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was one thing that Hunter and him clicked on.
Kentucky boy playing Kentucky boy.
Yep.
This is true.
Richard, we missed you, buddy. I figured he'd be on this episode as many times we used to watch this movie back in the day.
That's right. He did just. We were like, we haven't seen Richard in a while, and Chad was like, I bet he'll come on for this one.
And yes, he's correct on that. He's correct on that.
Fucking Hunter fucking ran for sheriff of Aspen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under the Freak Power party ticket.
Well, what was funny though, whenever he was running for sheriff, like one of his stipulations or whatever for the bills or whatever was, if it's a good drug and you're charging for it, you're going to be arrested.
Yeah.
Right.
So like they shouldn't never give out these things for money.
Yeah.
And whoever does.
There's a documentary.
And he almost won that shit.
If he would have ran today,
It was like 30
he'd have
votes.
gotten elected. Guaranteed.
He would have won today. He completely 100%.
Can you imagine that fucking story as fucking
Oh, wow.
Hunter S. Thompson as sheriff of fucking town? That'd be
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Hunter S. Thompson and Donald Trump going at it during the debates?
I'm pretty sure Donald would have
Oh,
got
that
shot.
would have been gold.
Him over there. He's probably stoned right now. Hunter, can you even see me? Do you even know what's going on at the moment? I have no
God,
clue
man, you're-
what's going on at this moment. I just know that you're
Like-
attacking West, and
He'd be like, "Am I fucked up or are you orange?
Yeah, I was about to say, my God, man, you're orange. Are you a fucking Oompa Loompa? What the-
Have you seen Sin City?"
He would have shredded Donald Trump. He'd
oh yeah, well, there's no doubt in my mind.
have
There's
made
a
him cry.
documentary that came out. I can't remember when. It was a long time ago, and it shows clips of him when he was running and all that, for sheriff and all that shit. What's really funny though is the fact that Hunter couldn't wasn't able to be a sheriff. I don't think he ever made it, but Ted Nugent has been a sheriff.
I mean, so has Steven Seagal or whatever,
Oh God.
and Shaq.
was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you know,
it doesn't take much.
Jesse Ventura was governor. That was over 20 years ago now. That
Jesse
happened.
Ventura is a good person. He's a good man.
And Jesse's still actually pretty active. I think I just saw him speaking not too long ago.
Yep.
Scene of Repossessed just
front
popped
of-
in my head.
Mhm.
Yep.
And of course Arnold, and of course Donald. So yeah, if
Ronald
that
Reagan.
would have happened today, it would have been a landslide. He'd have been elected, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, completely. Because especially as popular as Hunter S. Thompson's writings and shit got, way after the fact when it came down to the newer generation. Yeah. I don't think when I lived in a college town for a while, and I wasn't in college. I lived on college campus.
Let me clarify.
I lived in a party house. I lived in a party house, and
He did the old school thing.
yeah, and I was the guy on the couch, but I had a room, and
That's the guy, yo.
I didn't walk into any of these hippies or anything like that their house without seeing a Fear and Loathing Las Vegas poster. So believe me, there's a lot of influence with a lot of the youth. Unfortunately, I don't know. Whatever. Go on. That's going to end up spawning something else.
And so, yeah, we were just at 37 minutes. So I think this is the perfect time to go ahead and get started on the movie. But like I said, it's impossible to talk about this movie without talking about the great Hunter S. Thompson. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hand in hand. It's based on him. I mean, the book was supposed to be like a 500-word story that he was supposed to write for Sports Illustrated on the Mint 400 desert race, and it evolved into this whole. It evolved into this whole fucking story that was about them going out and searching for the American dream, and kind of a reflection of the 60s and the counterculture era and everything that he experienced over that last decade. So it's a wild ride, from start to finish. There's always something crazy going on, and you're like, is it the drugs, or is it something a little bit more meaningful that's just kind of flavored by the drugs?
yeah, and because I think it gets misinterpreted a lot because it's not just a drug movie. There's a lot going on under the surface, especially politically, which in a movie like this would never come out today.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that it would. I think a movie like this would come out today.
You think?
I think it would. I think that would there be controversies about certain things? Yeah, of course. I'm sure it would spawn all kinds of bullshit. But I mean, I think that given the climate of everything going on in our country, And I think that what you see in movies and these days, a lot of stuff that's being tackled in Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, I don't think is any worse than what's out right now. You know, I mean, like it's informative. It has to do with drugs, and it has to do with the truth, and it has to do with chaos.
Yeah.
That is all we live in right now.
That's true.
I mean,
so
it's so familiar. You know, we didn't grow up at that time. You know, that was before our time, the 60s and 70s. We didn't get to experience that. So we're only hearing the stories that these guys have passed down. But we can relate in a manner.
Drugs, and then we understood.
My mom and dad have told me some stories from back in their day. Crazy shit. I mean,
but even so, it's like at some point, I feel like we're going to see somebody, hopefully, that comes along, a writer, and they're going to be telling the story of now. Because it's like you look to the counterculture era of the 60s, and there's a lot of similarities to now. We have our own counterculture, you know, with the woke shit, and you know, it's different, but it's similar where they're kind of fighting the old and trying something new. And, you know, you're getting, you know, just like the counterculture movement, you know, they got kind of lost in the mix, you know, with, you know, he describes the shit that Tim Leary was selling to people with LSD and everything like that. And then, you know, they were looking for truth. They were looking for understanding and peace. And they ended up being a generation of cripples because, you know, they didn't understand. And it's just kind of the same thing now. It's like, no, it's not LSD. People were doing fucking heroin everywhere. You know, it's a different thing where people are looking for that peace and understanding and somehow.
Prescription drugs and the fentanyl and all those things. Big Farm, you know, I guess if you just make those minor adjustments, it would be the perfect movie to come out.
Well, the thing is, I mean, like it's the drug culture regardless. With you know, like you just said, you know, at one time the main drugs were marijuana, cocaine, ludes. At one time, I never got a chance to try those. But you know, a lot of like prescription pills and whatever.
LSD was real big too.
But LSD.
And it was legal in the 60s. You know, they didn't realize what the fuck it was.
Well, yeah,
Leary came along and it was like selling it to everybody. Like, hey, you know, I've fucking found this thing and it's gonna give you enlightenment, and people bought into it.
Yeah, but like it's kind of fucked up though. You think about those days back in the day. Most of the time, you know, there was always people that had problems and stuff. But at those times, people were chasing something happier than people are chasing these days. You know, in the hippie times and stuff, everybody was chasing peace and love and understanding and all that.
The Eagles came along and fucked it up.
Yeah, but these days, people, you know, unfortunately, you know, they're chasing all the wrong drugs. They're chasing their problems away with you know, vein tapping, heroin, fentanyl. Prescription drugs are still a thing, but if you're an addict and you've been an addict for the last 15 years, 20 years, you know that the progression as prescription pills go away, that's when the harder stuff comes in. When they took away the 30s, took away the perk 30s, that's when the heroin got in a lot of people's lives.
Yes, because it was a cheaper alternative.
Right, because and that's
the after I think 04, I believe it was old W did the whole thing with Medicare. And so the prices of the prescription drugs on the street skyrocketed. I mean, they doubled and tripled overnight. And heroin was just so much cheaper. Oh my God, can we say that word? Okay, we're still on.
H, if you will. It's all depressing. There's no trying to chase happiness. There's no trying to find that eternal, ecstasy of living. Now, unfortunately, everyone's trying to just numb, and they don't want anything else but the numbing, because everything else around them is too bad. It's too hard. So no one is trying to get happy. No one's trying to smile. Everyone's just trying to be down in the dumps.
Yeah, and all these politicians have this wonderful healthcare coverage for them and their families. Everything's free, whereas our own citizens, couples that have been married for 50 years, are having to get divorced just so they get certain benefits from the healthcare system.
Yeah. Oh, that's the insane thing about it. I mean, like, if somebody is if somebody is in the throes of a really bad addiction,
that's my cousin.
Okay. But we have, because the drug problem has been a problem for a long time, and you can, if you're an IV user, you can go into just about any place, and they'll give you all the accessories you need. They'll give you your whole rig to shoot up, to do whatever the fuck, clean needles, all that stuff. But yet we also live in a country where that is okay. But when it comes down to it, marijuana is still an issue with some people, and they ignore the facts about some of the other things going on in this world. I don't know.
Well, it's like
everything's just fucked up. It's like okay, these people over here are fucked up on heroin. They don't give a fuck about their parents. They don't give a fuck about their kids. They don't give a fuck about their lives. Let's help them out over and over again. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's help them out over and over again. Now, look, I'm going to say this because I have had way too many fucking brothers and sisters, as a lot of us have, from this shit. So I'm not saying, and I was never an IV user, but I was an addict. Yes, the heroin use and everything like that, whatever, people, they make their own decisions. Yes, there needs to be something more. The prison system, jails, they don't help. I don't know what
revolving door. It's a revolving door.
I don't know what the government's thinking, which makes me just go even more with the fact that we can't trust the government. Because they're not helping with other situations out there. It's just.
And that even back during the 60s, during that movement, that was an underlying theme. For them, television was becoming a big thing. So that's where they were getting their information. And, the counterculture movement kind of based off of us versus them. A lot of people were against, what drove that was the Vietnam War and how so many people were against it. And how the government wanted it, and it was like it was more defined back then. Like back then and now, the core underlying issues of people looking for peace and understanding and something deeper, some kind of deeper meaning to their life, still exists between both generations. But back then, it was a little bit more clear. It was like it's us versus them, and now nobody really knows who the enemy is because of social media and everything like that. We're all pointing the fingers at each other, and it's become a mishmash of what the fuck. So there's no clear line in the sand. Everything, you don't know what's real, what's fake, as far as news, as far as people. And when people get to that point where they can't fucking wrap their head around it, they've got to look for some kind of something, and it's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And these 24-hour news networks, that was the biggest mistake ever. They all have their own agendas too, on both sides.
Right.
It's a sad fact of it all.
And whichever one you happen to watch, that's what you're going to believe, because they portray themselves as a news. They got the guy in the suit behind the desk. They got the little ticker at the bottom. Call themselves a news network, so they wouldn't lie to me, right? No, they lie to you. Both sides, both of them. They're
don't
both
believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you see. You get a parking violation and a maggot on your seat. Because all these 24-hour news networks really have to do is file their company as an entertainment network instead of a news network. Because if you are a news network, you have to report facts. If you're an entertainment network, you can kind of do whatever you want. And I think that all started,
probably about 20 years ago too, where they had you remember they had the shows where they were yelling and screaming at each other with kind of the setup we have now, where all the talking heads which were just arguing back and forth. Oh shit, that got ratings. Let's do that again. And I think if you ever seen Anchorman 2,
Yeah.
that's a perfect representation of what happened.
But hey, you know,
What movie were we doing?
we got into that deeper meaning, you know, of the
message
film.
of the day is stay away from opiates.
Right.
And 24-hour
and
news
opioids.
network.
You know, not to turn this into a political or you know.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, how do we talk about this and not, you know?
Well, I think, you know, as serious as it gets, you know, I think that's what kind of Hunter S. Thompson was shooting for. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, we're doing all this crazy shit, but you know, at the core of it, all this shit's going on, and I want people to notice that, take notice. You know, look for the truth, question authority. You know, and that's what it's all about. But at the same time, a lot of fun in this film with Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro, fucking amazing acting, directed by Terry Gilliam. Just like we said, right out the gate, you're in it. You know, it's fast paced and it's a nonstop ride. You know, right from the start.
Yeah, you know, the music blasts on and the red convertible goes flying by, and you're just dropped in there like that, and it's great.
And that was that was Hunter Thompson's convertible too. They
oh really? The red one?
Yeah. Johnny Depp had traded his car for Hunter's to use in the film, and he was driving all over California or Los Angeles or whatever in Hunter's car. You know, trying to get that feel. So that was kind of cool.
Hunter's also in the movie too, and also Hunter was the one that showed Johnny Depp's head.
Yeah.
That's true with the news networks, and I believe there was a shift again with Nixon because the news networks were making him look bad.
I'm such a bitch. Anyway.
And that's so great at the end whenever Gonzo's getting on the plane, he does the Nixon, you know.
Oh, of course. And
You know,
that trippy part when they're in the last hotel they're in, and the TVs are all stacked up, and it's a really trippy movie. Very well directed though, because the camera angles and the lighting and everything else was supposed to match whatever drugs they were taking at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whether it was the lighting or the camera angle or whatever.
What's the trouble?
Yeah, another flea. We just talked about flea.
LSD.
The cameos.
It's all things seeing two men that he never thought he could ever like get out of his head or whatever it says.
I wonder if Flea thought his movie career was going to take off in '98 because he just did Lebowski and now he did Fear and Loathing. He's like, oh, I'm going to be a big movie star.
Well, him and Anthony Kiedis were both in that movie, The Chase,
and
The
when
Chase
he
with
did
Charlie Sheen and what's her face?
He also did Back to the Future 2 in 89.
Chuck fell out.
I think it was 89. Yeah, we lost Chuck for a second. Oh, well, that's a good picture of him. We'll keep that up.
He's deep in thought.
That's what I was ready to say. He just got stuck.
And our first cameo, I believe, was Tobey Maguire. Wasn't
Toby. Fucking Spider-Man.
Toby?
Hey,
Toby
hey,
Wong?
man, I never rode in a convertible before.
Fucking Charlie
Toby
Chan.
Wong? Toby Wong? Toby Maguire. Oh.
No. Spider-Man.
And we mentioned Hunter S. Thompson had that little cameo when he's sitting at the bar. Cameron Diaz shows up.
My God. There I am.
Flea.
There's a lot. There's Mark
Busey.
Harmon.
Busey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Harmon. Busey was in it.
Bill Murray.
Vern Troyer.
Man,
Christopher
fuck, I know-
Maloney. He's the
Oh, that's right, Sven. Sven.
yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry, sir.
that's 9. And the guy he's arguing with is somebody, but I can't think of what his name is.
Oh, what's his name is? He was a pedactor in fucking God damn it.
Police Academy?
No.
No.
What are we talking about, goddammit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He was Roger Pedactor. Whenever.
Yeah.
We're talking about the cameos.
Okay, we're talking about the cameos.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how Christopher Maloney was the desk guy whenever he's arguing with the one guy.
Fuck
older
you,
guy.
officer. Fuck
Yeah. Great
And,
scene.
We're trying to remember
That was
the
great.
guy's name, the older guy's name, because I was saying how he was in Ace Ventura as Roger Podacter. Because that always cracks me. I still to this day always say that whenever Jim Carrey's like, "Oh, the bitch," and he's like, "What?" He's so offended, and he's talking about the dog. He's like, "Yeah, Pekingese, Highland Park. She was half dead when I found her." And he thought he was.
You see what you did? You see what you just did? Yeah.
See, I was
Fuck
trying to
you,
figure out
officer.
where I knew Gilliam's
Fuck
name
you.
from too. Whenever I saw he directed it, then I like went back and looked at his shit, and I forgot he was like part of like the whole Monty Python thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did fucking pretty much all that shit, like Brazil, crazy shit. So like you couldn't have got a better dude to fucking make this movie, really.
Actually, whoa, it was somebody that did the Monty Python shit in this movie?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, and I love this movie. That's crazy.
He did Brazil, 12 Monkeys.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
just couldn't it was like nobody
hate Monty
understood
Python.
his movies
What?
or something because I thought 12 Monkeys was a great movie too.
12 Monkeys is great.
Amazing.
Which I'll go ahead and I'll have to throw
Get
this
out of my chair!
12 Monkeys, if you want to be really like, you know, in the right mindset or whatever, find the album.
Sober.
It's an album by the band Phantomos called shit.
Oh shit!
I'm drawing a blank now.
The
But
Shitty
it
Beatles.
has a black cover. Oh, what the fuck is in that? Anyway, if you play it from the beginning of 12 Monkeys and let it go on, it lines up great. Like I did it on a whim because we were just sitting around smoking weed, and I was like, I'm just gonna put this on because Phantom Moss is like a weird, like it's hard to explain. You can check it out yourself. And I put it on just to see because we were watching like 12 Monkeys, and there's a part in the album where there's chains. And it so happens that the part with the chains in the album is the same part where Brad Pitt has got the chains and he's like running around, like he's like kind of like, oh, there's somebody like beating chains or whatever. It's kind of fucked up. Just throwing that out there.
All right.
How can I?
Fucking
But fuck
A.
Monty Python. I said it.
God damn it.
And
So Monty Python night, huh?
And-
Never gonna happen.
I feel like there's more, but I can't think of.
There's a lot
He
more.
dir-
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a bunch of
he directed Fisher King.
Oh yeah.
He's done a bunch of stuff.
He's done a bunch
That
of
was-
shit, yeah.
I was with Jeff Bridges, wasn't it?
Oh,
Fisher King, was that one?
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Thanks.
that
Like,
directed forever.
Yeah, I haven't either.
it's a good
Yeah, I
one.
think I saw it once.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges.
And
Robin Williams.
I know I'm jumping around, but the Where the Buffalo Roam I saw once long time ago. I kind of remember it because I didn't like it nearly as much as I did Fear and Loathing. with
Yeah,
Johnny
if
Depp.
you go and watch Fear and Loathing, and then you go back and watch Where the Buffalo Roam, you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah, because that's what I did. So I
Yeah.
think that's what happened. If I would have seen Buffalo Roam first, then Fear and Loathing, I think my opinion would have been different.
I think that Where the Buffalo Roam, I think that Bill Murray and
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle, I think they were probably a more realistic version of those two in that than Fear and Loathing. Yeah, to an extent. Like I like not like when I say realistic, I mean not as animated. Like if you took away some of the quirks, whatever that you get in Fear and Loathing and stuff like that, like it wasn't as animated as Fear and Loathing, but
See, I was
Yeah.
thinking the opposite because I was like, it's more goofy because it's like they're on the airplane, the Air Force One or whatever, and then they're spraying the shit all over the Secret Service guys and all the people, all the other reporters on the plane, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
I also need to go back and rewatch that. It's been years. It's been years since I've seen that fucking movie.
Yeah,
Robin
Williams,
Robin-
Fisher.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Jeff Bridges. He had the hair, the ponytail, and he also was wearing the same shirt that he would later wear in a couple of scenes in Big Lebowski.
Yeah, man.
And he had that baseball shirt that he stole from his brother.
Yeah, Bo Bridges. Yeah, rest
Yeah.
in peace.
And there was also the Rum Diary, which came out way later. I want to say like 2011 or something like that. I saw that when it came out in the theaters, and that was the last time I saw it, to be honest.
It wasn't that great.
I haven't seen
That
it
was
forever.
Hunter S. Thompson's That was Hunter S. Thompson's
Go
like
back and watch it.
Because it was another
his
book,
novel.
right? Yeah.
That was his like novel. Like it was just like a story. It wasn't really supposed to be that much fact. And the book it's all right. The movie is all right.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, not. I mean, if I was going to tell somebody, hey, you need to read Hunter S. Thompson, I'm not going to say read Rum Diaries first.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a good story plot and all that stuff. It's a slow burn, even in the book.
See, I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie. I think I've seen parts of it, but that's about it.
Every time I've watched it probably about 5 times, and every time before I watch it, I go, maybe I just need to watch it again. I'll never learn.
Wrong.
Yeah, because I was so excited when it was coming out because I was like it was a sequel to Fear and Loathing. Oh my God!
That's what everybody thought, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
No.
So maybe that was my mistake too. I was expecting something, and
Well, so you assume. I'm just asking you.
I'm assing everything.
But another cameo, Christina Ricci.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless.
So yeah, a lot of fun cameos.
We're gonna go see Barbara.
Which that whole scene changed from the book.
Oh, really?
In the book, Dr. Gonzo's naked running around. He comes out of the
Yeah.
bathroom.
I could understand changing that.
Yeah.
I remember
So
seeing an interview with Johnny Depp where he was like, he had gotten all of Hunter S. Thompson's journals and everything like that from that era. Like he had kept everything, and he said he read them all, and all the stories were very accurate as far as what was depicted in the films and everything like that. But he said it was a lot worse. There was a lot more shit that they didn't do or show or talk about in the film, in the novel. So yeah, like you think it's crazy watching that film? Fuck, you don't even know what they experienced.
I think there's at least like 2 or 3 chapters missing from the movie that was in the book, and that's just some of the craziest shit you fucking ever see.
Yeah, but it wasn't much though. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, because like it was still pretty true to the book.
Well, because in the book though, like a lot more shit happens between the Christina Ricci character and Gonzo.
Yeah.
And it's fucking disturbing.
Disturbing, man.
What are you disturbed?
What was that?
What was that?
Sorry, I was trying to move the chat, over so people were waiting for me to click on them. But if I do that, all the previous chats disappear, and that's no fun.
But yeah, man, I think Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro, fucking knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
man.
God,
I can't.
This was his best work.
She took my baby, man. My baby.
I heard some shit that like they said it took Del Toro like a year or so to get back any kind of parts because everybody just thought he was a fucked up drug addict because he did so good playing his role.
Yeah.
And
he put on 45 fucking pounds for the role.
Right.
He said he ate a lot of donuts.
Great. Yeah. Ate like 16 donuts a day or something like that.
That'll donuts. Do it. That'll do it.
I mean, it don't take much. Trust me, I'm from experience. But like, yeah, I we talked about fucking Nicholson and Brando. We talked about Nicholson and Brando were considered at one point, and they got too old. Who else? They had talked about Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
Really?
That would have been interesting.
And then Belushi died, so they scrapped that idea.
Man,
so it was something that was talked about for years.
Because Belushi was going to be in Ghostbusters too, but he died.
Yeah.
Belushi would have been really interesting. All those other 2 movies with those
Ghostbusters moving
four other movie stars would have been very different. You'd have 3 very different movies. I feel like.
Bluto.
And I think they considered John Cusack for Raoul Duke at one point because Cusack was a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson and his work. He actually
he was.
Yeah, he did a play version of Fear and Loathing back in like 91 that he directed, and his brother Bill played Raoul Duke, and Dr. Gonzo was played by Jeremy Piven in the play.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yeah.
That'd have been cool to see.
Oh, that would have been cool to see.
So
Man,
I wonder if we can find a copy of that somewhere on the dark web.
you know, it
Well,
would have
it was
been
a play.
interesting.
So I don't know.
I'd say it's probably on YouTube.
There were handheld camcorders back then. Some people might have did.
I watched a lot of stupid movies that way.
Super duper bootleg.
Yeah, for sure. Anxious. And you know, the other thing, there are parts that are really uncomfortable. And the first scene that comes to mind is the diner scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's. You feel really bad for her.
Yeah. Call the cops. Call the cops. Fucking pose a phone at her.
And that's another thing I love that movie. How it's just like it completely changes your emotions from what you never know what the next scene's going to be.
No.
What the hell is going to happen next?
It's one big acid trip, man. It really is. It takes you through. If you're on a really big bender or some shit, time speeds up. Things don't make sense, and certain encounters are fucking weird. And there's never been a book that I could think of that just represents the come down, the come up, the come down, the come up like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
just curious. Does anybody think he killed the waitress?
I mean,
no one has seen the real guy alive since 90%.
Well, before he did the flashback of the scene, he found the knife and there was blood on the knife. Now they were hinting that because there was ketchup all over the fucking wall. Yeah. So
mustard and shit.
Yeah. So it was kind of like
crude pornographic pictures.
Yeah. It's another one of those things. Forehead. Did it happen? Did it not? Is it ketchup? Is it blood?
I mean, Acosta was known to be a fucking complete loose cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Hunter liked being around him. He liked the chaos. So man, honestly, I wouldn't put it past if that was the case. Like, you know, if that was something that actually really happened that was out of that. I mean, come on. That's a gangster right there. Like,
for sure.
Look at them motherfuckers. That's
and he's wearing a glove.
Yeah. you think it's like just some random shit Benicio del Toro throwing? Like, no, that's based off. Like they stayed very accurate to these characters.
They did.
You know,
same jacket, same everything.
Yeah, I think Thompson had given Johnny Depp a bunch of his his actual clothing.
Yeah, his actual clothes.
Yeah, and he's just wearing the real shit.
I was watching some shit where it was just like Johnny Depp, Del Toro, and then Hunter S. Thompson in a hotel room. And then like he fucking gives Johnny Depp this present and it's some kind of like tribal ritual mask. And he's fucking, they're all like, he's like puts it on and they all kind of like start dancing and Benicio is fucking cracking up. It's like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, I remember when I was living down in the city and Mike stopped over to see me and that we had that movie on. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
I thought my shit froze again.
I was about to say cool story, bro.
Yeah. And we had that movie on, and then there was two women fucking a polar bear.
Then we ate cheesecake. It was a good day.
You pay that polar bear? What?
Did they pay
What you just say to me? Dude, that is the worst fucking idea to have a bar on a fucking carousel.
Oh God!
Like
that's fucking
what the
amazing.
fuck?
And that's another thing. Like I even kind of got nauseated a little bit.
Like I felt bad for the dude because I used to be fucking scared to death of them shits whenever I was like 6. Yeah, I was the same way.
On his hands and knees, he's all fucked up, and he's just like trying to get off this.
Someone push me! Someone push me!
And it helps with the visuals so much because you're going around and around, and you see all the people, and it's
when he's like, I'm starting to get the fear. I gotta get out of the country. How much money do you have?
Man, woman, child, baby, whatever you are. It's like for somebody like me, like I've never done drugs or anything like that, and I have no interest in drugs, but I love this film so much because I love random shit.
Right.
You know, and if you're ever around me, I'm very random myself. So it's like all these quick things that they're saying and doing, it's just so random and so fucking weird and so eccentric and so entertaining that you can't turn away. You know, it's like, what are they going to do next? What are they going to say next? And you're just locked in. And
Like I always wish they would show what happened inside the Debbie Reynolds concert.
Yeah.
They get kicked out.
Yeah, like you see them go in and they get kicked out and they're just fucking laughing their asses off. Like,
and they ended up, you don't see her, but she recorded some lines for whenever you hear Debbie Reynolds, that was shit she recorded because Gilliam was friends with Carrie Fisher, I think, and Debbie Reynolds is Carrie's mom, so she got her to record like a couple lines just for that film. And
I'm a friend of Debbie's. I used to romp with her.
Yeah.
I did wonder about all the because there's a lot of Debbie Reynolds.
Did we mention Cameron Diaz in the fucking?
Yeah,
took my baby, man.
That whole scene's.
I read the big fuckers.
That whole fucking scene's crazy.
And now we're right in the middle of Vortex, and you would have quit.
So many good lines. Oh,
Close them peepers.
Give me them goddamn golf shoes.
Yeah, just like Big Lebowski, there's so many quotable lines.
So many
in this
quotable
whole
lines.
movie.
This whole
It's just
fucking movie
unbelievable.
It's so good.
So good.
God damn! I never rode in a convertible before.
Well, one of my favorite scenes too was whenever they're at the drug seminar.
Oh yeah.
Well,
She'd have one hell of a trip.
Well, I just like that one scene whenever he's like, they call it a roach because it looks like a cockroach, and then like Johnny Depp does that like look into the camera scene, like what a
They
fucking
break the
idiot.
fourth wall. I love it.
what is fucking guy talking about?
He's like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
The semen
Then
stain
they
on his
steal
pants.
the fucking briefcase.
Yeah.
full of drugs.
Constantly jacking off. I won't lie. I when I became a pothead, there were many times where that part of that movie came to mind, and I would always make sure that I wasn't doing something that I didn't realize.
You got to pull your pants down to your knees. That's why.
Yeah, you got to clean your
No,
shorts.
you don't.
Clean your
Clean your
shorts
shorts.
like a big boy. I think that might be one of my favorite scenes is the bathtub scene.
Close them peepers.
He just wants to fucking die listening to White Rabbit.
That's
all he wants.
I thought I was going to have the goddamn maids to do it.
Who said anything about
You
that? You up,
selfish
man?
bastard.
I just wanted to carve a C in your forehead.
What
Well, I forgot to tell you, I thought about if we could like remake that scene and pre-record it in your bathtub.
That'd be weird.
Don't fuck with me now, man. I am Ahab.
I'm not shitting in my bathtub.
I think the bathtub scene might be one of my favorite ones. And the beginning. The opening scene is great too.
I don't know.
Also, God, again, there's so many great scenes. But like
the
Gary
lizard in
Busey
the bar.
scene. Yeah. All the little conversations going on, and when you read the book, you get more of that because you actually don't really like pay attention like the first time you watch it. Hearing what the guy on the phone's talking about a girl being ripped apart and shit like that. Like in the book, it kind of but like shit. Oh, the Gary Busey scene where he gets pulled over and he's got all this. He loaded up like all the free shit at the hotel, and the cop Gary Busey is like talking to him and shit. He's like, there's a hotel just down the road. I'm just saying, you just need to go over there, just, then he gets to him and he's just like, but before you go though, it gets kind of like, I just have just a little kiss. And then he goes to the next, and he's like, the cop
right away.
The cop raped me on all fours. Like, you're like, what?
Because it cuts off right there. So you're like, did he do it?
That's one of those mysteries that we all have asked. Like,
Well, apparently, Busey ad-libbed that line where he said, "How about a kiss?" Or whatever. That wasn't in there. And like everybody hated it except Gilliam, and he decided to keep it in.
Oh God, I'm glad they did.
That's hilarious.
I was right around the time when Busey started taking the turn.
It really was. Yeah.
I think he's just turning.
He's always been turning.
Yeah. It's never stopped.
He's on the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
This is where
I
you
love
should
that fucking guy though. He's so good.
This is where you should cut to a scene of him and Meatloaf arguing on The Apprentice about who took whose paints. It's like two toddlers. It's ridiculous. If you've never seen that clip, go watch it on YouTube.
YouTube, here I come.
It's hilarious because they act like little babies. They really do. But anyway,
Yeah, baby.
love them both though. Love them both. Rest in peace, Meat.
I'm going in hand to hand.
That would.
Fucking
So
Busey's
that
the man.
actually happened?
What?
Did I misunderstand that? Did you say Hunter and Meatloaf were on The Apprentice?
No.
No.
Oh,
Gary
okay.
Gary Busey
Oh, Gary
and
Busey was. Okay, I'm
Meatloaf
sorry.
were on The
All right.
Apprentice.
Okay.
I wish Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
know,
man.
right? That's why I was.
Man.
I was like,
I
let me
would
confirm
love
that.
to see. I would love to see Hunter S. Thompson, Gary
Could you
Busey,
imagine?
and Meatloaf arguing over paints. You can't write that shit. Like I wish I could. I wish that could have been a thing.
Or him confronting Donald Trump. You know,
Oh
Right.
God.
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't.
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna fucking fire me? I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, orange motherfucker.
I think that Hunter would probably
Nice hair.
spit a bunch of facts about Trump to himself, and completely probably like he would do really good to the last moment, and then he would like yeah, and they'd be like, oh, that's what we were waiting for. Oh yes,
God damn it.
so good, so good.
I knew
So
this was
fly.
going to be a fun one. I'm loving this. I'm having a
I
great
wish
time.
I would have brought my Acapulco shirt.
You know, the arm to the teeth. Wearing many Acapulco shirts. The part with the part with the little guy, and he just like throws the change at him. Like
Hunter hated that. He said he would never do something like that. So whenever he saw Johnny Depp do that part, he said he didn't like that one. I think that was the only complaint he had. But he said,
Hunter wasn't a ruthless bastard, even though he did ruthless bastard shit. He really wasn't that bad of a guy. He was all about people's rights and shit like that. Like he was a freedom fighter, 100%. Big, very important American figure, and I think that his name should never be forgotten. Gonzo should never be forgotten.
Mhm.
Hell, Gonzo's even made its way into porn, but we won't get into that. It has.
and the
But-
Muppet Baby and the Muppet Babies.
Chuck's
Oh,
hanging
well.
out in the green room at the store lately.
I just got that. That went over my head at first.
But yeah, no, yeah, Hunter S. Thompson, his name needs to be revered. Needs to be known by every generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Because
if,
we'll never-
if you
we'll
don't
never
know
have
a
another.
lot about him, if you've never even heard of him, I strongly recommend you look this guy up. There's plenty of interviews and information, and also clips from the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Buffalo Rome and all those things. It's all on YouTube. Just look it up, man.
Another thing real quick, and like I always do, I'm going to fuck this up, but there was a quote that was Hunter S. Thompson. He was asked about drugs and violence and all that stuff. He's like, you know, sex, drugs, and violence don't work for everybody, but they work for me. And it's just like that's Hunter. That was the good doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ask him a question, he's going to answer it. So.
Right.
In whatever way he feels at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Watch any interview with that guy. He had his own way about him, completely, 100%. Oh, I was going to say is the fact that when it comes down to like the people that need to be known throughout time, Hunter S. Thompson is one that needs to be known throughout time, a lot more than some of these fucking holier than thou pieces of shit that are out there that everybody wants to love and praise because you know, fuck them.
Yeah. You know, and
Take the shot. Take the shot.
and a lot of these
Cancel.
companies anymore make such a spectacle about where they stand politically, and Recently, Bud Light did something. I don't know. I didn't read anything about it. Bud Light did something where they took a stand and they made a big spectacle about it. And that to me is just like if you stand a certain way, yeah, stand a certain way, but you don't need to fucking keep announcing it like that because you're going to alienate your audience. Are you okay, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm just trying not to spit out what I want to spit out.
Oh, okay. Are you biting your tongue? You're biting your tongue. I got
Gracias.
I was just giving an example, the first example.
Like
I wasn't trying to get your blood pressure up.
Ooh.
Hoorah.
But yeah, we could really use a guy like this now. Use about 10 of them. That'll just come out and tell it like it is.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
My gosh. This episode is flying by.
I know, right?
Well, that's great.
His daily routine.
It's
Oh,
that no. I know what you got. I don't, it's the same thing that they read on Joe Rogan's show the one time, I think, and it's not real. Somebody had published it.
Well,
Is it the one? Is it the one with like all the cocaine?
yeah. Like his daily routine. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a made up one. Fake news.
There is one. Kingdom of Fear has his. He goes through his whole thing. That's where he got it from, I thought. Because in Kingdom of Fear, he goes through his whole routine for the day.
So if you were going to start with Hunter S. Thompson books, would you recommend Kingdom of Fear first or Las Vegas first?
I would say Hell's Angels first.
Hell's Angels first.
And then Fear and Loathing. And then Kingdom of Fear. And then you can travel your way to all the other shit because he had a lot of stuff.
This is really a nice pen, man.
You guys been drinking? We're responsible people.
So good, so entertaining, such a good story.
It really is.
Such a perfect setting, for a drug-induced adventure going to Las Vegas. I mean, where else are you going to go that it's going to be this crazy?
Perfect setting.
Perfect. If you've never been to Vegas, I mean, it's just fucking lights and fucking.
Yeah, what's he say that one time where he's like, ether, the perfect drug for Vegas?
Yeah, and back in the 70s, it was like anything goes. That was you're out in the middle of the desert, just fucking do whatever.
Mm-hmm. Is he okay? Did he bite his tongue off, or did he need to go? Did he need to get some air?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And a fucking amazing soundtrack.
Right. Oh God, yes.
I even had the soundtrack somewhere on
yeah, we
CD.
were just playing it earlier before we started.
That's whenever me and the dudes that I used to live with back in the day, like we had a band together, and then we ended up watching Fear and Loathing so much, we ended up doing a metal version of She's a Lady.
Dude, I'm pretty sure this film got me into Tom Jones. I was like, I don't remember being a big Tom Jones fan before this, and I just remember after the fact, I'm like fucking rocking Tom Jones. I'm like, I got to go to Las Vegas and see Tom Jones play live.
Right.
Yeah, and it's with me, it was the same with like the Quentin Tarantino soundtracks and stuff like that. Yeah. It's great because a lot of different generations can go back and discover all this classic music.
Jute. The two jutes.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's Tool spelled backwards.
Tool backwards.
Yeah.
It was the band. It was the band after Perfect Circle.
He should fucking. Hey, Chuck.
Sorry, I had to pee like you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
what?
You're fine. This is our here.
We were talking about your love of Jute.
I love Jute. I love Jute. They're a great band. Yeah, I saw when I walked in the plane.
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't insulting your intelligence, Richard. I was just
sweet.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, Tool.
Yeah. Sweet Mary.
I look at that poster numerous times every time we have a show.
You all get to see the usual back here of my shit. You got a little bit of everything. You got the Pulp Fiction. You got old Danny Trejo, DDP, and Rob Zombie, and old Gigi. I hate God.
Where's Lance?
Lance is actually in the front room.
Oh, he got special treatment.
Of course.
Of course.
Oh, that reminds me, real quick.
The fireplace.
Hold on, I have to show you something real quick.
Dun dun dun.
So, old Whitman has been selling a bunch of shit, and I had to buy this off of him. I have a problem, but it's not obsession, okay? But I had to buy this. It's a nice little thing too. It's
TV guide.
The TV guide for Millennium came out.
Ah,
No doubt.
Yeah. So if I ever get the chance to actually meet him myself, I will be taking this to get. So
nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had to share.
Yeah.
You all
I
were
like
the cool
that.
motherfuckers that got him to sign some shit, for me, and which I will always fucking just
I
completely.
actually watched that video the other day.
Yeah, because if you follow him on Twitter, he posts about Millennium all the time.
Millennium is a great show.
I think
Really was.
they're pushing to finally get that on streaming.
It needs to be on something. Fuck.
Mhm.
I mean, I was able to get the first couple of seasons from somebody.
Put it on Tubi. They put everything on there.
It's just they should do something. It's a great show that needs to be released. I think that if it came out now, it would be huge. It'd be fucking huge. Boom. Great shit.
Any connection to Ascension Millennium?
Oh, why did you do that? Now I'm gonna have to listen to that after the show's over.
What is it?
Ascension Millennium.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman. That's the shit. That song that gets stuck in your fucking head.
I know.
Oh, it's not.
I was actually just watching Rock and Roll High School Forever because Dave's never seen it. Have you guys
I've
seen
never
that
even
movie?
heard of it.
Is that the one with Ramones?
No. This is the
Which
one
one?
with Corey Feldman, and they're in a high school, and their principal's Darth Vader. And she has a
Somehow I missed that one.
she has a detachable hand that she can put like a flamethrower adapter on.
Better if it was a detachable penis. Anybody remember that song? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
I do.
Detachable penis. Yeah.
And the last scene we watched before we came over here was Corey Feldman skateboarding through the halls of the high school. That clearly wasn't Corey Feldman skating through.
No, because like his feet were facing like goofy foot, and he was standing regular foot. So I was like,
he
well,
was
that's
riding
a
a
that's a terrible
skateboard like
transition.
this. When it was a shot of him, and then you cut to the feet, and this guy's doing like all these tricks and stuff. It's just no.
And his
I'm done.
torso is just straight.
Yeah. His Anyway,
Good movie. Good movie.
we don't recommend that movie. You might, but
I like weird shit.
Don't touch my fucking neck, man.
in that part when he starts hitting him and he loses control of the car.
Did you see what God just did to him?
Medicine.
God didn't do it. You did it. You're a fucking narcotics agent. I knew it.
Pig fucker, pig fucker, pig fucker, pig
Like a
fucker.
fucking river dancer.
Like a ducking river dancer.
I trust everybody that is in here has seen this movie because we've been quoting this movie like half the episode at least.
I mean, it's too hard not to.
It's one of the greatest comedies, drug movies, whatever you want to call it, of all time. I mean, biopics. I mean, it has a little bit of everything in it. It's fucking great. I mean, it's one of my favorites of all time.
Are you ready for that?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for that? Checking into a
Are
Las Vegas.
you ready? What?
Checking into a Las Vegas hotel under a phony name with the intent to commit capital fraud on a head full of acid.
I sure hope so.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Excuse him. He's on heavy medication.
This man suffers from a bad heart.
He suffers from bad heart.
Angina pectoris is what we call it.
And if I remember correctly, the woman at the hotel who turns into the lizard
Yeah.
is the mom from Overboard and Who's the Boss?
Ellen Barkin?
Is that yeah? Is that what her name
Can't
is?
remember. I don't know.
Was that her?
No, I thought it was. I
don't
thought
think
it
that
was
was her.
her mom. I thought it was Mona.
Really?
I think it was Joe.
no.
I think it was Joe. Joe Mama.
Hey, is that a hawk? Poor
Hello.
This is why the business cards have nonsense written on them.
Hey, somebody's coming.
Here, Mike needs the fly swatter to get rid of them bats.
But yeah, fuck. We recommend this film.
Yeah, fuck.
We recommend this film with the highest praise. You know,
Definitely.
One thing, this has been a struggling episode because I usually have a headband on, but I didn't wear one today, and I can't even imagine having fucking hair. This shit would piss me off. I've been fucking playing with my hair the whole fucking episode almost. Just trying to get it out of my face.
No, it's Catherine Hellman. I'm
Yeah, that's Mona,
I have
though,
no
I think.
idea who that is.
Yeah, it's Mona.
Is it
Mona on what?
Who's the boss?
Okay, so who's the boss? And it's also the bomb that's on Overboard.
The fucking Kurt Russell movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, that's been a while since I've seen that movie.
She was Goldie Hawn's mom in the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen that shit.
Wow.
Oh, really?
I think they're remaking that.
Mr. with your sleeveless shirt, pulling his shit out like that. As a kid, I thought it was just the cool thing to do because I thought Kurt Russell was a badass. I was like, oh, this is what I do with these shirts?
I think I have read that somewhere. They're going to remake that movie.
Yeah,
Overboard?
you're right. It's
They already did.
Mona from Who's the Boss.
I mean,
I didn't
they're gonna do it
recognize
again.
her.
He's more of a Captain Ron fan.
I just
Are
think
they really going to remake that again?
From what I heard, I just saw it not too long ago.
Well,
Because they made it with what's her ass as the. It was like a reversed role, basically.
That's stupid.
It was kind of because like it was a woman. Like Kurt Russell's character was what's her ass? I can't. The blonde that was in Scary Movie and in Mom and all that shit.
Anna Faris.
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean Captain Ron, but Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, they should really consider remaking different movies.
Well, not remaking Captain Ron. He was just saying my favorite movie of Kurt Russell's is.
I see. I misunderstood. I thought you said they planned on remaking Captain Ron.
Oh, I hope not.
Why not?
I think that shit's kicking
What
in,
about
man.
Cabin Boy?
I'm having trouble.
Want to buy a monkey?
Pure luck.
Oh shit!
Hey, you want to buy a monkey?
What are we doing, Kurt Russell week? I got fucking Tango and Cash over here.
How much for the ape, man?
Let's get on the brass tacks here.
That was another thing. Whenever they go to the fucking casino in the film, it's like Bazooka Circus or something like that. It's based off the real casino Circus. And if you've ever been there, it's very similar. But whenever they take the ether and then they're walking along and the big gorilla is right there, that's in fucking Johnny Depp's front yard, from what I understand. He said he.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
And put it in his front yard. Thought it was so fucking awesome.
That's cool.
I believe
give
it.
him props for paying for Hunter S. Thompson's final wishes.
Mm-hmm.
The big fucking.
Fucking shot out the cannon.
Shot of a cannon.
Yep.
Fucking crazy, man.
And yeah, all these celebrities, including Jack Nicholson, came out, and Bill Murray, and all those people that do them.
So, yeah, Hunter was loved and hated by a lot of the same people.
Yeah,
like a lot of people have said, like, "Oh God, Hunter S. Thompson was the biggest asshole sometimes," but I miss him every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Just watching his interviews, you can tell he's that kind of person.
Oh yeah. You never knew what you were going to get out of him.
Yeah, he's going to say what's in his mind. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine how cool it would have been to have known him.
Right.
How fucking insane it would be. Like, it seems like everything was an adventure with him.
Did you see him on Conan?
Well, he showed up like.
Well, yeah, like he told Conan, Conan was like, "We're gonna have Hunter S. Thompson here, but we're gonna do it at remote location at his house because he wouldn't come on the show." He said the only way he would do it is if I came out to his house and shot guns and drank whiskey.
Hey, there's a part where
I'd have did it.
There's a part where where Hunter S. Thompson has the automatic weapon right there, and the gun safety guy moves the glass out of the way.
Yeah,
and
it's like
Conan
move a
goes,
glass of whiskey.
"Hey, Conan O'Brien goes, the gun safety guy just moved the whiskey out of that guy's way, you know." It's fat. It's a really funny one too, because they redo it whenever a hunter actually comes on the show, and they show it again.
Yeah,
It's that's a good one, because he comes into the interview, he comes on stage and goes to the back of the chair, and he's like, "Most people come in the front, but you have your own thing about you. That's okay." Ah! He's like, "I made these shoes." He's like, "You didn't make those shoes. They're the Nike switch on them." He's like, "Yeah, I made them in my basement."
because his property was called the Owl Ranch because one of his aliases was Sebastian Owl.
Yeah, he had a couple of them. There was Raoul.
He has like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there was a couple. I can't think
forget
of
all
off
the
the
other
top of
ones.
my head. But
One funny story that he actually tells on Conan O'Brien is where he shot his assistant.
what?
I didn't see that one.
They're like, because Conan O'Brien's like, "Well, I heard that you shot your assistant or something." He's like, "Yeah, there was a bear outside of her door, and I running outside, and there's a bear, and I shot it with a shotgun pellet. And it hit the pebbles, and the rocks flew up and hit the bear in the ass, and it scurried off. And when she came outside, she heard what was going on. She came outside, and she got in the way of a shotgun pellet and it shot her right in the ass.
Big bear. Big bear chase.
He's like, as he also says, he goes, "Yeah, you know, the news and everybody wanted to make it out like, oh, I was gonna kill the bitch," but that wasn't the case at all.
Big bear chase me.
Oh, you want a big sandwich?
Big bear.
We gotta do that fucking movie. I love that movie.
Please
What?
Great Outdoors.
Oh,
tell me about the fucking golf shoes.
Tell me about the fucking golf shoes.
God, this movie's so
God.
good.
Hey, when are we gonna go on a ride on Suck My Wake?
Chuck looks like he lost.
Now we're getting sidetracked. But yeah, fuck.
I want 6 hot dogs. They're for everybody, and I'm hungry.
Oh my god.
What was it? The 59-cent or 25-cent hot dogs? Isn't that what they?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just
watch the movie.
You got there.
that scene's so.
All right,
fucking rough.
Dave.
It's so fucked up.
Any other commentary on the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Well, your clerks highly, highly, highly recommend this movie if you've never seen it.
Watch it.
Watch it.
If you don't know who Hunter S. Thompson is, look him up.
Yeah. If you want someone who was true and wasn't going to sit there and bullshit you, Hunter S. Thompson was your guy. Dr. Gonzo.
Mhm.
And also, I also have to make a point that when I came home and told my stepfather that I watched Up in Smoke and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, his reaction was to hand me a Cypress Hill CD. Well, you're already there.
I thought you were gonna be like, he handed me a
It was the
cup.
greatest time of my life.
He handed me a cup. I was like, go piss in this.
My stepdad was always the one that if I was stoned, I could go through with him first. Like, do I look? You think she's gonna notice?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
How do you get rid of the paranoia?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Fucking Tobey Maguire in the backseat of that fucking car. That's a fucking creepy ass scene too.
That poor kid. That poor fucking kid.
That poor woman. They're gonna kill that poor woman.
It's such a good movie. Such a good fucking movie.
Wow.
It's a classic. I think you can call it a classic now.
Oh sure.
Call it classic if anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it didn't do well at the box office.
No.
You know? It was one of those films that's it garnered attention after the fact.
Yeah, Cisco Labor really hated on it.
Yeah,
Of course
I
they did.
think.
He said something about it being like a waste of star talent or something.
Well, I think the budget
They
was
were a
like
waste
18
of
million.
airtime.
Budget was like 18 million, and it only brought in 13 million box office. So it's definitely one of those ones that has a niche audience.
It's like you guys
What a
said, it was
couple
just
of
a different time. I mean,
The thing is, too, like it came out the same year as Lebowski, and they both kind of did the same thing. Like they didn't start out great, but in the long run, they fucking hold up, and everybody is
they,
like,
they
they have
find,
cult
they find the
following.
audience later, and that's
Well, fucking Lebowski Fest. Jeff Bridges, like he talks on Conan O'Brien, and he talks about how his band, the Duders or whatever the fuck they're called, they played. He never felt like a Beatle before until he played that. He's like, we were on stage, and I didn't ever feel like a Beatle like that before in my life. And it's just, I don't know. It's fucking cool. Like, I know people who've been to the Lebowski Fest.
I want to go to one.
It's ridiculous. Because I'm not 100% sure, but one of the bigger ones is here in Kentucky, if I'm correct on that. I'm pretty sure I am.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'd like to
and-
go. It's a lot of weed smoking, a lot of White Russians, and good music. And they show like the Big Lebowski like 5 times.
nice.
And a shitload of Aztecian sweaters.
Fuck yeah. And hey, if you're a Johnny Depp fan as well, definitely check this out because this is one of his best performances.
Fuck Captain Jack Sparrow. Like,
If not these, you could argue this might be his best.
Hey,
His
now
best work.
Jack Sparrow has his place, but when it comes down to people that's taking on the role of Hunter Thompson,
I'd say he's number one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well,
that completely 100% like embodied that man, and that's why Hunter Thompson was fun. The scene where like he's in like the nightclub and he walks past like Hunter S. Thompson, like old Hunter S. Thompson, like he's just like, oh Jesus. Apparently,
I love it. It's so like fucking poetic because he's all fucked up and he's like, there I was.
Oh
my
shit!
God,
There I am.
yeah. And it's so the dynamic there is so fucking amazing.
Such a good movie. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it before we did this episode, but I think I might have to watch it tonight. Actually,
Of course.
so good.
Yeah, and there's
so good.
plenty of clips and compilations on YouTube as well because it's not streaming for free anywhere as of now. It used to. Netflix used to have this.
Did
on
you say
for a long
meow?
time.
Right, man.
Right, meow.
Now,
I didn't say meow.
right, meow.
I can swear.
Meow. Who
Are you
says
saying meow?
Right, meow. Man.
Meow,
Am I saying meow?
What meow?
meow,
Do I look like a cat?
meow, meow.
You see me drinking milk from a saucer?
You know what?
Who says meow right now?
There's
meow.
something.
Oh, meow.
There's something special that only happens once a week. So, Chad, can you tell Dave to play the clip of the week?
Hey, play the clip of the week.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I
Thanks,
didn't know what was coming.
Get us back on track.
He said he's going to play the clip of the week.
We will end the show tonight, as we always do, with our random clip of the week, in which we pick a random clip from a random movie and we see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Happens.
Oh, boy.
Die! Die! Why won't you die? Why won't you die?
Beneath this mask, there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask, there is an idea, Mr. Creedy. And ideas are bulletproof.
I did not expect that one, but that is a great
Fuck
movie.
yeah.
We need to do that one. We need to do that one night.
You know,
I got the
it's
mask
really
back there
funny.
hanging out.
It's
I
really
love
funny. That was the clip. Okay, with everything going on, everything we talked about, that was the clip. Because
Actually, you're right. They do kind of tie together, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, our
Our
random
boys.
generator's pretty smart.
No, that one worked
I-
good.
Yeah, I love
That was a
Puppet
good
Master.
fit.
I love Puppet Master.
Puppet Master.
Blade all grown up.
He kind of looks like him, right?
Blade's all grown up and he grew hands.
That's
Oh, for
fucking
fuck's sake.
great. Oh, here I did a thing. There we go. All right. So, does anybody have anything going on before we call it a night?
Do you have that
Yeah.
thing?
That
There we
thing.
go.
There it is.
One more
Right.
time. Next Next fucking week. I'm about nervous about it. Bastard Sons of Judas Go, my band, and our brothers and All Work for the Blind, who were the reasons why we got on the show, are opening for NOLA's fucking one of the best fucking bands, Goat Whore. If you're in the Louisville area on 421, the day after fucking 420, hope you're still smoking, hope you're still stoned, come out to the show. It's going to be good shit, and it's going to get wild. I already know. I already fucking know. The guy, if you never, All Work for the Blind, check them out. Every time we play with them, it's debauchery like 2 hours before we play. Like, it's definitely a show that it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a good one. We've got a good set lined up, got some good songs, heavy to the point, get you right in the ears, get you right in the fucking, like, you know, I don't know, get your head banging. All Work for the Blind, they'll fuck you up big time, and Goat Whore is just going to fucking rip your head off. So come out to Louisville, Kentucky at Zanzibar. Z-Bar, baby.
There's a lot of goat going on in that event.
Yeah. Yeah, I joked about fucking saying on stage, like, when I'm like, yeah, I want to thank, you know, and being like, you know, our work for the goat. Just be like, goat. But I don't know if people would actually get the joke, but, you know, whatever. I also know how I can say what I'm going to say, like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get up there and go, bah!
Get some Stonies in you, you'll be all right.
I never look. You understand. I have been a Goat Whore fan for years. I never, ever thought that I would be saying I'm opening for Goat Whore. It's just
here we are. God damn it!
And there will be video footage that,
yes,
you know, yeah.
Yes.
So,
and we'll be waiting for that. And all the links for everything that Chuck Nasty is doing, including his writing, including Bastard Sons of the Judas Goat and the Goat Whore coming up in Louisville, Kentucky. All the links are in the description. And for Mike as well, for his company, because he is the owner and operator of Leasure Trading Companies. And you can check out his YouTube channel right now. Well, plenty of goodies on that. And the links for that are in the description as well.
I got a feeling that show next week isn't going to be too bad.
well, like I said earlier, I feel like there's so much good juju surrounding it.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is. And also, like, that's Evil Dead Rises. Evil Dead Rises. For fuck's sakes, it's finally coming out. Can't wait. I'm excited about the show. I'm excited about the fucking movie. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be a killer weekend. 420, 421. Shit.
Life is good, man. All right. So,
and continuing with the theme for next week.
Which, well, Mike came up for a name for it, but I don't know if we can use it. So we probably better not.
No.
You guys will, viewers will just have to pick up on the theme. I'm sure you'll get it. Last week we did Big Lebowski. This week was Fear and Loathing.
It's April Mania.
And next week, dun, 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 it will be Cheech and Chong.
To go along with the
Up in Smoke.
With the
what's that?
he got the tray. To go along with the holiday.
That's a nice cutting board.
Next Thursday, the holiday, 420 will be here. So why not? 419. We're gonna get ready. We're gonna get ready for with a little Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke. In my opinion, my favorite Cheech and Chong movie is Up in Smoke.
Dude, it's my favorite comedy of all time. Like, you give me any fucking excuse to watch this movie, I am so down.
And that about does it. So have a good night. And on a side note, the first time I ever saw Cheech and Chong was at Mike's house. And that's it. That's the end of that story, too. Good night, everybody. We are the Video Store Clerks on the Video Store Clerks Podcast.
What?
Too weird to live, too rare to die.
Take the ride.
And we're clear.